It's a challenging time to be a teacher. We don't get paid a lot, the days can be long and exhausting, demands from students, parents, admins, and districts can be intense. There's always room for improvement and there is always more to do. There are always new procedures to learn, new programs to run, new strategies to master. But it's when our fire burns the lowest that we remember our purpose. We teach because we're resilient. We teach because we're problem solvers. We teach because investing in kids is one of the highest callings we can imagine. We teach because we know that the classroom can be a place of magic and possibility. We teach because we have an unquenchable fire for learning and a passion to share it. We teach because our colleagues are some of the best human beings we will ever meet. We teach because we have an opportunity to influence the global citizens that will make this world a better place. If you're still on fire for learning and growth, join the Teachers on Fire Roundtable for conversations that will warm your heart, spark your thinking, and ignite your practice. You'll hear from real people and real educators with real solutions, not make-believe perfection, but ideas, inspiration, and a path toward change and transformation in K-12 education today. My name is Tim Cavey. I'm an 8th grade teacher, assistant principal, and the host of the Teachers on Fire podcast. I'm inviting you to join us at the Teachers on Fire Roundtable. Because you matter, your voice is important, and we are all better together. Welcome back and good morning, Teachers on Fire. I'm so glad to have you here in studio today. I've got Jennifer Smith, who is more of a recent acquaintance and one that I've developed a relationship with around writing. Let me introduce her. So Jennifer Smith is a teacher, writer, dreamer, education influencer, and water lover. Learn more about Jennifer and catch more of her work at her blog, The Playground of Ideas. That's at theplaygroundofideas.com. Jennifer, thank you for joining me this morning.
Thank you for the invitation. I'm thrilled to be here today.
So good to connect with you and get to know you a little bit better here in real time. So a question I like to start with, Jennifer, is this one. It has to do with fire. If 1 is burnout and 5 is on fire, how are you feeling today?
So today I'm fortunate enough to be a 5. I'm on fire. I'm excited to have this conversation with you about education and writing. I will be honest, not every single day is a 5, particularly in the past month in this pandemic winter, though.
All right. Well, I will take it. And yes, we've got to be honest, right? Not every day. We're not on fire to the same extent every single day. Well, let's start, Jennifer, by talking a little bit more about your context in education, because you are an educator, you're an active educator, and I think that's important. So let's talk about what that looks like in your world.
In my world, I teach 5th grade social studies. I am the 5th grade team leader. I coach middle school swimming. And I am a co-director and co-founder of our school's academy program, which is a multidisciplinary program that we run each year.
So good. We've got one familiar viewer in the house. Good morning to you, Shannon Schinkel. She says, I'm Shannon, high school drama humanities educator from the traditional, ancestral, and unceded land of the Lahaide Tene. Let me know how I did there, Shannon, otherwise known as Prince George, BC. Great to have you on board, Shannon. And if you too are joining us live, let us know where you are coming from. We'd love to say hello to you. And I should say as well, I forget to do this, but to our audience, Shannon, let us know where you are doing on that scale of 1 burnout and 5 being on fire. Give us a little check-in this morning. I think that is important. Well, Jennifer, let's start with story time. Share with us about a low moment. We don't have to go too deep if you don't want to, but share with us about some kind of a low moment on your educational journey, some kind of experience of adversity, and then let us know how you worked through that experience.
Sure. I think many of us faced our biggest lows during the pandemic, and I am not alone, I know, but was my biggest low, is the pivoting to virtual learning and then to hybrid where we had students a couple days a week and in person, and then we had a couple days a week virtually, and planning that and not being able to see my colleagues every day. I
Mm,
think that was a major low point for me. Um, and it was a bit overwhelming um, to have to switch to technology immediately in that way and not to be able to be with my colleagues in presence only through a screen was really, really a challenge for me personally. And one of the ways I found to power through it and grow and learn was to write.
mm,
I started writing a blog on the platform Medium, and I started writing I started writing some of my ideas and thoughts and publishing them surrounding our experience during the pandemic. I felt like many people did not in our society did not really understand what teachers were trying to do and what teachers were struggling to do.
right.
And even the successes that we had, the small successes that we might have each day in our virtual classrooms or with students. And so I started writing, and that really helped me to overcome some of my challenges because I heard from other teachers who, whether they're my colleagues or other teachers across the country, who felt like what I had written was spot on for their experience too. And so I felt not so alone, even though I was isolated in my little office here, connecting with people virtually. I was connecting in another way with
Mm,
people through experiences. And then once we moved back to a situation where in the fall of last year, my school was part-time virtual and part-time in person. We called it a hybrid situation. I relied on my colleagues 100% to get me through each and every day. Their support, their smiles,
mm,
um, and even their downs. We lifted each other up.
mm-hmm. Sometimes you can learn together from the downs, right?
Correct.
Those feelings or those experiences of failure or falling short can actually be really informative, especially as you say when you share them out, when you write about them, and that writing resonates with other people. That can be so affirming. Well, writing is exactly where I want to go next with you, Jennifer. And just before we do, we've got this comment from Shannon. She says, I'm currently designing an EFP 10 Composition 10 course from the ground up, and it is firing me up. That is great to hear, Shannon. Nothing like, and Shannon, I don't know if you saw my comment on Twitter recently. Our one of our contacts, Phil Stringer, sort of threw out this question, Jennifer. It was an interesting one. If you had unlimited dollars and 3 years and enough preps from your school to commit to this, what area of education would you like to really focus on and learn more about? And I saw Shannon give a response there, and mine was thinking about the impact that student writing and publishing could have on their learning. So that's something that I know is close to your heart as well. So let's talk about your writing, which I find so inspiring, and I'd love to hear more. I'd love for you to share about your commitments here in 2022 because they are big. Describe your current regular writing activities and talk about what fuels you. So I know you touched on it, but how do you do it? So just take it away, cover that whole. I know there's a lot there.
So thank you. I really enjoy reading other people's thoughts and ideas and connecting with other people. And that fuels my writing
Right.
most definitely. And so I use Twitter and LinkedIn. I've started being more active on LinkedIn, and I'm really enjoying that as a piece to fuel my ideas. So yeah, I have some big goals inspired by you and Teachers on Fire publication. Hoping to write 52 education blogs in this
Yes.
year, once a week, one each week, and I'm on par for that. Keeping my fingers crossed that I can manage that. And I have set up. I know you're a fan of Atomic Habits and using habits to accomplish your goals. And so I've set in some routines and habits in my life this year that have really been very helpful. So I get up early in the morning.
Okay.
before school, and I take some time to have some quiet. We find when we're teaching middle school in particular that our days are very hectic and chaotic and loud. And so I start my mornings in a quiet space. That's one of the only times each day that I have that's quiet. So I do get up early. I've set that habit of getting up around 5:15, and I spend about 30 to 45 minutes writing each day. And sometimes what I write I'm not happy with. It's just, but it's ideas. I
Mm.
just get a lot of ideas on paper, and I have a little notebook that I carry around with me actually most of the day, and I just write things down as ideas come to me or other people say interesting things. And so I have this stockpile that I keep of ideas and thoughts of what to write or what to write about. And sometimes I'm just inspired by a daily experience, but I try to write things down so I don't lose the idea. And then I spend my mornings writing my blog.
I was waiting for that, idea keeper. And you are a notebook person. I know many in the writing field. I like to use something digital so I can
Mhm.
access it anywhere. But however you do that, I think it's really important. Dave Burgess writes about this too, about how if you want to get in that writing habit, you've got to be able to capture those ideas because sometimes you can be, whether it's in the shower, in the car,
Mm.
between classes, wherever you are, you might think, this is an issue I keep thinking about and I really want to explore more deeply. Do you feel like that is one of the biggest benefits of your writing, just that you get to clarify your own thoughts?
Absolutely, without a doubt, 100%. And so I often have my ideas in a moment when I'm driving or
Yeah.
when I am in the shower or when I'm in a conversation with someone, and that is challenging. So having a notebook or, like you said, a phone to just even record yourself saying an idea, don't forget this,
Right. Right.
is really helpful. But yes, I when I write, I have maybe one idea, and then I start writing and thinking about different, um, expanding the idea. And I learned so much about myself and my philosophies, and I grow as a person when I write. And it's really kind of exciting to expand on an idea that's very small when you have the inspiration. Um, and a lot of times when I write, my first idea is not very good. And
Mm.
I always take a break from my first draft and go back. And that really helps me to expand and clarify what I'm trying to say.
So good. Just before we move on, I'd love to touch on Medium. Oh, I'm not shifting screens properly here. There we go. I'm not. Yes, I would love to talk briefly about Medium because really that's, I believe, where you and I have connected
Mhm.
the most. And talk about, let me bring up your Medium page here. I feel like other teachers hear about Medium and they maybe don't understand, the benefits. I love this platform. What do you love about it?
What I love about Medium is there are many things I love about Medium. um, First of all, the ability to connect with people all over the world around your ideas, I find is really inspirational. And provides me with more ideas and helps me to grow and question what I'm actually doing in the classroom, and in my career. I mean, that is how you and I connected. And I'm in Maryland, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that's really an inspirational piece to connect with people. The second thing I like about Medium is the ability to post things very quickly.
Mm.
So I write for your publication,
Mm-hmm.
which and I write for some other publications when it's not about education. I write some other things, and editors do read what you are publishing. But I
Mm-hmm.
have also published for organizations like Middle Web or Association of Middle Level Education, and that you can't publish immediately necessarily. And so this blog that I have, which is about the volcanic eruption in Tonga, if I hadn't published that on Medium, it may have taken several months to get out into the universe.
Right.
And that's not really helpful to teachers to consider a learning experience that happened 6 months ago. So Medium allows me to publish my ideas as they are current.
Yeah. Something that I think is so cool. Let me. Oh, that has a darker background. That might be harder to read. Something that people may not realize as well is that Medium is interactive. And sorry for doing this Medium deep dive, but it just occurred to me that we should show people what Medium can do. So as a reader, I have some options here. I can highlight this and Jennifer will see it. I can even respond directly to this. Let me zoom out a little bit. So I can write my thoughts on this highlighted passage. Say, I so agree. Whoops, I'm shouting at her in all caps here, but I so agree. And then she will see that, and other readers will see it as well. So I guess what I'm saying is this, Medium has created this place where you can annotate the writing of others and really make it much more interactive than even WordPress or other typical sort of classic blogging platforms. So that's one of the things I love about it as well. It's just because it does build that conversation so well.
Yeah, I agree with that. I often find that people highlight things and I look at it and think, oh, wow, did I say that? That's great. That someone
Yeah.
else liked what I said. And I enjoy that interaction.
Mm-hmm. All right, moving on. I want to get to the, let's see, Shannon made another comment here. She says, my daughter gave me a notebook called Plans for World Domination, and it's almost full. All right, Shannon, we're watching out for you. When I drive, hey Siri, write a note. That's interesting. I don't use Siri for that purpose, so that's a great idea there. All right, so I wanted to put this question to you, and I know it's a dangerous one when we think about teachers who are fighting exhaustion and burnout, but I can't help but going back to this, Jennifer, because we know that self-reflection is so powerful for our students in terms of their metacognitive process and owning their learning and all of these good things. So what about this idea of teachers doing more of that? Is that fair to ask of teachers if we create the embedded time within their paid time? Is that something that we can ask of teachers, do you think?
Oh, wow. What a luxury to have that incorporated into your pay time
Right.
self-reflection. Wow, how exciting. That's really imaginative.
Well, it would be exciting. It would be exciting for you and me. I don't know if it would be exciting for everyone.
Um, so yeah, I think that that's really exciting. I think so many teachers, particularly now, are afraid to fail. Um, so many of us feel like there are standards we need to meet, whether they are written standards or metaphorical standards, or we want a class to go a certain way. Um, that self-reflection can be very scary,
Right.
and I have had enough failures in my 25 years in middle school to know
Yeah.
that self-reflection is required as a
Mm.
teacher. It doesn't matter if you are intentionally or non-intentionally doing it. You have to admit to yourself, yeah, well, that didn't go well.
Yeah.
And you have to learn from it, right, and grow from that. And that's one. So I have recently been thinking about the idea of the difference between professional development and professional growth. And
Ooh.
I think your idea of self-reflection goes along with professional growth.
Hmm.
Professional development I see as all these classes, all these things we do to check off the list that the school wants, or certifications or programs. But professional growth is really growing as a human being, as an educator, and that is so important. If you want to connect with your students, you've got to grow in so many ways.
Hmm.
Yeah, I like that class. um, If I were doing the same thing I was doing in 2001, it, it would be a disaster, right? And any professional development program would not have changed me as a person. It's my
Hmm.
professional growth and ideas and reflecting and writing and connecting and collaborating that have helped me to grow as an educator.
I am definitely applauding over here, and I see a few others as well. Helena, hope I'm saying that correctly, says self reflection is key for professional growth. And Shannon is saying professional growth is also intrinsically motivated. I came across another educator that maybe you've connected with on Twitter, Lainey Rowell, and she insists on saying professional learning. She will not say professional development. And I've never followed up on that, but I think I know where she's going because we use this PD, Pro D, professional development, and often teachers think of it as this passive thing, like
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be professionally developed by someone else, and I'm all about developing or learning yourself. What are you doing to take that next step, right?
Yeah,
Well,
and I
yeah.
I also think our schools have to think of it in a different way. They're checking the box in many ways. Our teachers are trained in this way, are trained in this way, and that's not growing as an educator.
Right. Well, thank you if you have been joining us on the live or replay audience. We really appreciate you being here. Smash that like button, drop a comment, let us know about education, writing, and professional writing. How has that influenced your practice? Jennifer, what else is setting you on fire in your teaching practice right now? Is there a particular unit or activity or a project that you've been working on that is setting you on fire this year?
Yes. So there is, without a doubt, my colleagues. Helena's my colleague who just commented.
Oh,
Will
nice.
will know that the one thing that sets me on fire is a program that we run that I am co-director of called our Academy program. And so that is a multidisciplinary collaborative program that lasts 3 weeks, where we have multiple courses. The students self-select the course they would like to be involved in, and
Oh, cool.
it's designed completely outside of our typical curriculum. So we just stop our typical content and we focus on 21st century learning and 21st century skills in new and innovative ways. And so we're working on that program right now. We had to pause it due to the pandemic last year.
Sure.
And so we're bringing that back in person this May at the end of the year. And some of the courses this year we're really excited about. To give you an example, there is one course called CSI. And so the kids get to learn about forensic and criminal investigations, developmentally appropriately, of course, while building skills of communication, collaboration, commitment. We've narrowed the skills to a skill set of what we call the 5 C's. And so we assess the kids on that and communicate with them on what we're looking for. We have a capstone project. It's really exciting.
Is that fifth C? I heard commitment in there. I often call curiosity that fifth C. Is
Yeah.
commitment the one you were thinking of? Yeah.
So we created, when we designed the program, we narrowed our 21st century skills to 5 skill sets, which commitment is one of them. And we were thinking of that as we called them C's to help the kids understand, right? And that is out
Sure.
there in the universe. Commitment as our grit concept, working
Mm.
hard, focus. And then we also put character as one of the C's in
Oh,
ours,
nice.
acting appropriately and having a positive attitude when something doesn't go well.
All right, as we start to wrap down, and that sounded amazing, by the way. Love the sounds of that. I'm glad it's firing you and your colleagues up this year. I think we all need that source of fire for sure. Thinking of wellness and self care, what is one app, routine, or daily practice that gives you clarity and recharges your fire, Jennifer?
Without a doubt, I journal every morning. Before I start to blog, I sit down and
Ah.
I journal and just have a little bit of a mind dump. And that clears my mind and helps me set the tone for the day.
Whose voices are inspiring you right now? Which authors, speakers, or creators are lighting your fire for learning?
So that's a great question. I'm currently reading this book called Subtract,
Okay.
which is written by a behavioral scientist at University of Virginia. I think his name is Leedy Klotz. And the concept is, I haven't finished the book and I'm interested to consider how I apply it to education, is to problem solve. We often add components or add things. And his idea is maybe we need to subtract
Hmm.
things from our situation in order to solve problems.
Tell us about a current or upcoming project or activity. Maybe in your case, it's a blog post, your next blog post that is firing you up as well.
Yes, I have a couple of blog ideas. One is, I was on a podcast. So thank you. But I am actually thinking, I'm considering also working on a book surrounding our academy program.
Okay, cool. And final question, how and where can we join your learning journey? I've got a couple of ideas, but you may have a few others to throw in here as well.
So Medium, obviously, I am on Medium daily. I have my blog, which I cross post from Medium and my blog, so it's usually the same content. I am on Twitter at Jennifer_Smith5. And I'm also recently started engaging more on LinkedIn, which I found is a really great platform.
Yeah, can we park on that just for a moment? Have you used, and I should know this because I see you on LinkedIn, but are you actually using their newsletter feature?
I am not yet,
Okay.
and I am trying. I know that you do, and I really appreciate that feature. And
Mhm.
so that's something I'm considering figuring out for the future.
It is super remarkable, and it's almost making me blush to look at my analytics. I'm like, how are so many people subscribed to my newsletter after just publishing one post a week? But I think the key with LinkedIn, and I'm glad you brought up LinkedIn, is that it is a place, a professional space
Hmm.
where 90% of users do not create anything. And
Yes,
if you just think about that, if you decide to become one of the 10%, suddenly you have a tremendous opportunity to
yes.
actually make your voice heard. So, yeah, I see you posting these thoughtful questions and comments on a pretty regular basis. And I think that's so good that again, LinkedIn for education creators like you and me is a great space to explore. So, thanks for bringing that up as well. Well, Jennifer, we've been connected for some time. This is our first conversation, and I have to say it's been so enjoyable. So, thank you so much for sharing part of your Saturday. I know your time is valuable, and I really, really appreciate it. It's been great to connect with you and get to hear a little bit more about your work and your learning. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. I enjoyed it.
Bye bye, everyone. Thanks for tuning in.